I was a helper hand for a welder on ships. One of the very difficult jobs I have done, and I have done difficult jobs a lot. I have been a police conscript, so I was a 911 responder. I can't get into all of what I've done, but it's been a lot. Hey everyone, welcome to AK Reacts. I'm AK, your favorite Middle Eastern PNG tuber, ready to dive into some awesome videos. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to another AK Reacts video. We're back to see my favorite duo creators on YouTube with another video that is fairly new. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are checking out another mikeburnfire video. This video's name is Jobs That Suck. It's one of the Campfire stories and I really want to know what have they been through. So remember, go to their channel, watch their video, like, subscribe, share, all of that. And if you like this video, maybe do the same for me. Links of the original video in the description. You can look them down right now. And you're going to see there are links in the top right corner of this video right now. So, without further ado, let's get started.
One of the last jobs that I had before we started doing this full time was wall vac installation. I would install vacuums into people's walls. I'm not sure if you've seen those before.
What?
These
Yeah, I've seen it. We had one when I was growing up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we had one. The thing was a bastard to empty. I hated it.
Okay.
Okay, can I go on a slight tangent about how much I fucking hated every single vacuum cleaner we had when I was growing up?
Go for it.
I don't know why. I don't know. Okay, so we had several different vacuum cleaners when I was growing up.
So many.
Several different ones. The first one was like a bag vacuum cleaner. Whatever. And like old bag vacuum cleaners from like the 80s, they fucking suck.
Yeah.
And like not in the way that they're supposed to. They're not very good. I'm sorry, that joke is probably gonna get used several times. When we moved into the house that I spent most of my childhood in, when we moved into that house had a wall vac system. Mike, you tell us what a wall vac system is.
Okay, well, if you imagine all these water pipes running through your walls and your floorboards, getting to your sink and your shower and stuff like that, it's kind of like that, but for air. It's a PVC pipe that carries air or suction, you know.
All right.
And they just look like outlets in the wall.
It looks like a power outlet that you can plug a hose into. Instead of plugging a power cord into a power outlet, you plug a vacuum hose into the wall vacuum outlet, and you plug it in, and that automatically turns on the vacuum canister machine somewhere in your house, and it sucks all of the air out through the pipes in the walls, and so you're vacuuming, but the vacuum cleaner canister that's making all the suction is like downstairs in your utility room, or sometimes it's out in the garage. And you're sucking all the stuff up off your carpet and your table, and it goes through the hose, into your wall, through the walls, and then it collects in the canister wherever that is.
Yeah. That is
and they have other versions. Like they've got ones. I think the floor pan ones are kind of neat. I don't know how well they work, but I think they're kind of neat. It looks kind of like a register for like central air.
Yeah.
But you press a button and it pops open, and then you just sweep everything into that.
You sweep. It's like a dustpan, only it's a dustpan you don't have to empty because it takes all the stuff through the floorboards.
Convenient.
The canister.
So we moved into the house
Is it
that we
better?
moved into, and it had a wall vac in the house. And I don't know how the wall vacs you installed worked, but the way this one worked is the hose.
All right, just one more point. This thing, I don't think it would have worked in like our situation. Like we are Persian, we are known for using rugs like everywhere. So we have like a protective cover over the floor, and then we use the rugs on that. So in a traditional house, you would definitely use a big 1,000-watt or something vacuum cleaners for it. It does look like it's a neat thing. Like it would be so much easier just to sweep everything to the corner and just suck it all out from the other side of the house. Yeah, I see the very good points of it. Let's keep going.
Had a metal connector at the very end of it.
Yeah.
And when you plug that,
just
worked
roll
as the
back just a bit.
house. And I don't know how the wall vacs you installed worked, but the way this one worked is the hose had a metal connector at the very end of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you plug that in to the wall vac outlet,
Yeah.
there were two little tabs that stuck up The hose made contact with those, and that's what turned it on.
Yeah.
I got shocked by that fucking thing so many times because I would be holding onto the hose and I would stick it in there and it would fucking short out to my hand. So my arm would go numb. Like half the time I would plug, not half the time, like maybe a quarter of the time I would plug the vacuum in. It would fucking shock me. It pissed me off every single time. Anyway, it didn't suck very well. Emptying it out was an absolute nightmare because it was mounted like in the basement, and you had to like hold a garbage bag up to this thing,
Really?
and then open the door, and then it dumped. Well, it's because this house was built in the '60s, so this is a wall vac from like 1965 or something.
I see.
This is a wall vac from like pre-Cuban Missile Crisis, when people didn't know what a vacuum was, so they would just put a cloth over their mouth and walk over the carpet going.
Kirby it out.
Joking, it's not that fucking old. Anyway. It also isn't pre-Cuban Missile Crisis as if it was 1965, but whatever. I'm being.
You're being facetious. It's okay.
Facetious. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So we had that one. I didn't really like using that one all the time. It was fine. I would use it mostly for the stairs because then I don't have to haul the next vacuum cleaner I'm going to talk about. I didn't have to haul that fucking thing up and down the stairs. The other vacuum cleaner we had was called a rainbow vac. It was a canister vacuum. This vacuum cleaner was about the size of like a third of a 55-gallon drum. The way this vacuum would work,
Okay, wait.
it was the size of like a third of a 55.
A third of a 55. I have no idea how much that is. Give me a second for me to check. You were talking about this. You should have just called it like an oil tank drum, and I would have gotten it like right off the bat. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm a Persian. This is everything we have. Just this. Let's go back. All right, I get it. Now I get how much that is.
Was about the size of like a third of a 55-gallon drum. The way this vacuum would work, it would separate into two different components. It did not have a bag. You would take the motor of the vacuum cleaner off the top, which was its own little self-contained unit. The bottom was a clear container that you would fill with water.
Huh.
You would put the motor back onto it, latch it down, put it on top of the little wheeled cart, and then start vacuuming. So what would happen is it would blow all of the dust and debris into the tank filled with water so that you didn't have to have a bag and you didn't have to have like a whole, I guess, HEPA system.
Okay, yeah.
So it would just exhaust all of the dust and debris and hair and everything into this tank filled with water.
All right.
Which meant that once you were done vacuuming a single room, you are now dragging around a thing that is filled with muddy, disgusting, brown, hair-filled water.
Oh.
Because all of the debris and hair and everything that's on your floor is now in this tank.
You gotta go outside to empty it. You can't empty out in the bathtub or else
No, you can't empty it out in the bathtub or the sink
definitely
because it's filled with hair and gross, disgusting things. So you gotta pour it outside.
Clog it up.
And
Absolutely.
then you also can't carry it up and down stairs.
It's too heavy, yeah.
Because it's filled with fucking water. And the moment you accidentally tip it one direction, all the water starts sloshing around, and then you risk it contacting the fucking motor and shorting out. I hated that fucking vacuum cleaner. It was a miserable. It was a nightmare. I think they still fucking make them. Don't buy a rainbow vac.
Okay.
Anyway, those were the two vacuum cleaners that I had to choose from growing up, were either a wall vac, which didn't suck enough, or a rainbow vac, which sucked too much. So yeah, you got a job
And I had the
working for the
disgusting
wall
water
vac
as an
installation
output.
company.
I got back from my trip out west. I came back, needed a job. A friend told me, hey, I know a guy who's looking for someone to help him out. So I got this job. And half the time I was doing installations, and half the time I was doing service calls. And installations usually weren't that big of a deal. You go to a house that's still a shell of itself, doesn't have any drywall or anything, and you just start installing pipes. You assemble the inlets before there was even a wall there. You get that there, you get that hooked up. And if it's like a small 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom condo, it takes maybe half a day. If it's like a bigger house, maybe it takes the entire day.
Yeah.
But the installation jobs were usually pretty easy going because I'm the only one there. I'm going to these places that are... Sometimes there's no electricians or HVAC guys there, so it's just me working by myself.
It's peaceful
if it's
and
a
quiet.
Nice day, I'm working in a construction job by myself, doing some relatively
That's
easy
fine.
manual labor.
That is
The
really
PVC
fine.
pipes aren't heavy at all.
Yeah,
I'm just hooking it all
plastic
up,
ones.
trying to solve problems like how do I get it from this inlet to the basement? Can I go through these rafters? No. Okay, how about I go around here? Okay, there you go. It's a really relatively easy
problem-solving
job. I've got
job
no
mostly,
complaints about
yeah.
it. And my boss, he's not breathing down my neck. He's like, yeah, just get the job done by the end of the day if you can. And if not, no big deal. But I prefer it if you could. And so, yeah, I'd try to get it done by the end of the day. If I got it done,
Not that much of a hard
halfway through the
condition.
day, then, hey, half day for me. I can go home early.
Yeah.
Get paid less. Woo. But anyway, yeah. he was really easygoing. He says, "Hey, we got this installation job 2 hours away near this lake. While you're there, I've been there. Enjoy the lake. Just take some time. There's a beach nearby. Go visit that beach." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, you got it."
That's actually really good.
Whenever I had to do a job for a church, he's like, "Yeah, don't bother billing them. Yeah, it's fine. It's all good."
Oh.
I mean, how are you gonna get paid though?
That's his problem to figure out. He's
Oh,
the
so he
boss,
would
I'm the
pay you.
installation
That's
guy.
actually
Alright,
fine. Yeah.
I mean, I would still want to get paid, but that's me.
He doesn't always give the church a free ride, but he's grateful for them. That's just the kind of person he was.
That's a good kind of
Anyway, I'm doing all these installation jobs. If the house is moderately sized, it's not a big deal. If it's a big house, it might take a few days, and that kind of
Yeah,
sucks.
expected
But the
those.
installation jobs, usually not that bad. Winter, I still have to do installation jobs. And again, these are shells of houses. There's no windows or walls. I didn't mind doing this job spring, summer, and fall, but during the winter, hands got cold
Yeah.
quite a lot. Didn't much care for that. And again, the van, not in the greatest of conditions, tires quite bald, got stuck on the construction sites a lot.
Oh, damn.
I got very well versed in how to chain the tires. And
Why didn't you just get new tires?
that cost money, and he doesn't have any money. He's not charging churches for the jobs.
Maybe if he was charging people for doing his job,
They would have money,
for tire-
yeah.
Whatever, it's fine. It's fine.
Someone comes in and is like, "Can you help me out?" And the boss is like, "Yeah, I'll give you a fair shot." And I'm nudging him like, "Maybe don't give him a fair shot.
I need money. I'm hungry.
Money.
Maybe Praise God. No.
Maybe I need to fucking eat today.
We need to keep the lights on.
Anyway, yeah, the installation jobs usually not that bad. And then the other half of my job was service calls. Someone says, "Hey, I got a problem with my system. It's not sucking like it's supposed to, or it's not turning on. So I gotta."
All right, question 1. Did you put your dick in it? No. Question 2. Why did you put your dick in it?
Why
I
did
don't know
you?
if you want to. This isn't like a hand vacuum cleaner. These wall vac systems, one of the benefits of them is they're actually quite powerful.
Yeah, they work.
Yeah.
They work decently well. It just made me think of the Why Did You Know skit. It's gonna rip your dick off. What? No, I wouldn't. Why would you think I was thinking that? Oh, hell no. Well, watch, this motherfucker's still gonna buy it.
It's a good bit. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of the wall vac system is that it pulls very strongly, and the canister is in a different room, so all the noise is secluded. So if you got pets or small child, that's one of the benefits of the wall vac. And then there's the drawbacks of sometimes carrying around these hoses is kind of cumbersome. It's not perfect. There's benefits and drawbacks. Anyway,
Pros and cons.
the other half of my job was service calls. So my boss would try to walk the customer through it, like, "Well, are you sure that's plugged in? Is there a fresh bag?"
Oh, God.
And he'd try to get them to solve the problem.
Turn it
without
on and off
needing
again.
a service call, but I
I feel like generally the person that is getting a wall vac installed in their house is not the same type of person that's really the tinkering sort. That is
Yeah,
gonna
they
sit
want,
there and
like,
fuss with it for like
ease.
3.5 hours to see if they can get it to work properly.
Yeah, exactly.
possibly not. They want the simplicity of it. So I go there and I try and walk through it.
Comfort versus
Sometimes there's a legitimate
practicality.
problem. Your machine's not working because it's been going for 10 years and the motor brushes have worn out. I'll give you some motor brushes and we're good to go. Other times I would get there and I'd say, "Lid's not on tight." What's the problem? You have two hoses plugged in at the same time? Gee, I wonder why suction seems weak.
Huh.
You sucked up a sock and it's
Common
not working
sense
anymore.
is a
All right, I'll
rare
go grab
thing in
the
the service
fishing
business.
line.
Ramen customer support line, how can I help you? Yeah, why does my beef ramen taste like chicken? Did you see what it says on the label? Oh, never mind.
But most of the time it was.
We've
just
all
like,
been
there's a
there.
clog,
We've
I
all,
sucked up a sock
at
or
some
something I
point,
wasn't
been that
supposed to.
guy, but it's
So I gotta
still.
get the drain snake and try and fish the PVC pipe, pull out the sock. I pulled out socks, Lego pieces. One lady tried to use
Condom.
I
Ew.
didn't find that.
There's a snake. I'm inside the wall.
One lady tried to clean out her pet rat's cage with the wall vac.
Oh, no.
And that theoretically could work if you pace yourself, but if you're trying to get it all at once, and it's gonna collect in there. So now I gotta cut into the PVC pipe and drain all these
Oh my god.
this rat everything into a bucket.
Was there a whole rat in there? Tell me there wasn't a rat. Okay,
You shouldn't
good.
suck up the rat.
That would make me sad.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated. Pro parenting tip for you. If you have kids and they want to get a pet gerbil or a pet hamster, get a rat instead.
Yeah, they last like 2 years.
Yeah, they live longer. They're actually smart. They're cuddly. They won't try to bite you for
Rodents
literally
are
no
not my
reason.
thing, but
Rats are
sure.
very nice. I saw them. But yeah, service calls are the other half of my job, going to different places and fixing their problems. And most of the time, that was not a problem either. Sometimes you get people that have these big houses, and I shove the drain snake all the way up there, and I'm like, well, I can't get it from this angle, maybe the other side. Nope, can't get it from this angle. Well, I'm out of ideas. There was one house I went back to like 4 or 5 times. Like, maybe if I go in your attic and cut the pipe here, and then try and drain snake it from this cut I made, nope, that didn't work. And my boss is like, here, take this drain snake. It's got a camera. You can see the obstruction. I'll be, oh, okay. And I fish it all the way up there. Nope, didn't make it all the way through. I can't see where it's just not long enough.
Get like the 50-meter long drain snake.
That's what we were using.
Oh, get the even bigger one then. Whatever the drain snake that isn't long enough, get the longer one.
At some point, it becomes too difficult to push the drain snake all the way through this
Yeah.
pipe.
So you get the drain snake, right, and then you get another drain snake, and you attach that drain snake to the first drain snake.
Tape him to the
Double
gap.
drain snakes.
I forgot to tell you about my favorite service call. I go there, and they say, this thing isn't sucking as well as it's used to. And I lift up the lid on the container, and I say, this bag is full. And they say, there's a bag inside.
No.
They
Yeah,
have
you've
never
had this
liked
system for
me.
how long? 5 years.
Wah.
Oh my god.
You gotta change the bag.
That's like the people that bring their car in and they're just like, yeah, it's making a weird noise. And it was like, well, when was the last time you had an oil change? What's an oil change?
What's oil?
I'd say half the time I'd go to a service call, and I'd see that there was debris at the bottom of the machine. So I'd have to go to my van, bust out the hand vacuum the vacuum, clean that up, and
Clean
it
out
works
the
fine.
vacuum.
Like half the time, it's just the
Clogged.
intake is obstructed.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good lord.
Sometimes the wall vac system is set up in a way where it sucks the debris into the attic, and if the attic isn't insulated, then the pipe, all that debris collects in the water in the ceiling.
Oh god.
So sometimes they didn't have any suction, and I'd have to go into their attic, cut apart their PVC pipe, and replace sections of their PVC pipe because maybe it was like a small itty bitty space that hadn't been completely obstructed by all the debris that had solidified in there.
God.
So some of those jobs were a pain in the butt. I would say for this job, this wall vac job that I did, most of the time it wasn't that bad. It was flexible hours. The work itself was honest and it was not hard. 95% of the time it was good. I didn't mind it. But there was that 5% of the time where I was just thinking to myself, I gotta get the hell out of this line of work. So winter I already talked about. Winter's not fun. My hands are quite cold. I don't like that. The worst, though, is when a customer comes in and asks for a retrofit. I did not like the retrofit jobs, where their houses are already completed, but they decided after the fact, we'd like a wall vac installed because our neighbors
it's
have
no
a wall
longer
vac.
a
So
shell
can we
of
get
a
wall
house,
vac?
it's a
So now I have
fully
to cut into their drywall
furnished
and
house or
install it,
something.
and then shove. I gotta get a power drill and drill into their floor, try not to hit their floorboards, try and drill up into the wall from beneath it, trying to get the pipe up there.
That sounds like a pain in the ass.
It is not
Yeah.
fun. It is really not fun.
Because I'm assuming you can't just cut out a whole rectangular section where the pipe would go in the wall.
Exactly.
No, you have to cut like a 2.5-inch hole to shove your 2-inch pipe up through the wall. Sometimes they want it installed in a house that's got like multiple floors, so I'm shoving pipe through their floors, into their walls, through their floors again. Retrofits were just the worst. Usually my boss accompanied me on them, but I still hated them. And of course, there are some service jobs that were just a pain in the butt. No matter what I did, they just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, that happens with like almost any job.
Yeah.
And there were installation jobs where like I'm installing a wall vac, but I have to be in a crawl space, and they're like some of these crawl spaces kind of spacious. Some of these crawl spaces, you know, I'm claustrophobic, so I don't like being in crawl spaces.
Oh, they don't bother me. That's fine.
They
Not
bother
a problem,
me.
but
did
I
not
get it,
like
yeah.
them.
See, you know what? I just thought of something. Because you were basically the only person working at that company, you never got the joy of showing up to work and someone looks at you the moment you show up to work and goes, "Oh, thank God you're here."
Not never had that, no.
That is the moment when you're just like, you just stop and you have to seriously think, do I just turn around now
Yeah,
and start
should
throwing
I
up
just
everywhere
not
so I
have
can
come?
go home?
If you're relieved to see me, what's going on?
What the
This
hell
is
has
not
happened?
good.
Most of the time, again, this job was largely not that bad. If it paid better, I might have considered staying longer, but I
It didn't pay very well,
Not
if I
really,
recall
no.
correctly. It paid pretty fucking terrible.
No.
And then like I know you kept telling me about like your boss was on his like third heart attack and was basically barely able to function anymore. And you were like, I feel bad leaving the company, but like I was just going, dude, it's circling the fucking drain. What are you gonna do?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but yeah, the boss, again, great guy.
God
but
damn it.
Like the doctor would say, hey, you broke your hand. Don't do anything with your hands for like a week. So he wouldn't do anything with his hands for a day.
A day, not a week, a day.
Yeah. Again, sometimes he would.
Invincible, you say?
Like he had metal braces and metal rods and like different. He was more metal than man in some areas.
You look like Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Not quite. No. The guy looked to work. Like
I have such pipes to show you.
he had passion for the job. Like,
oh come on, that was really funny.
Yeah, it was.
You gotta give me more than that. That was really funny.
I never saw the movie. I'm sorry.
All right, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just imagining Pinhead from Hellraiser with just a bunch of PVC pipes sticking out of his head.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't a bad job. You mentioned the connector pins before. That's still basically how they function. They use low voltage wires, so I'm not sure if they did that back then.
They might not have. It might have just been like, I mean, again, safety hadn't been invented yet, so they probably were just like, just throw it together. Who cares?
There were a couple of times I had to mess around with the electrical wires because sometimes the low voltage wires weren't the only component I needed to hook up. So sometimes I'm actually hooking up proper electrical wires, and sometimes they'll cross it. Never a good feeling.
No.
Oh, getting electrocuted by those black and white wires is never a good feeling.
I'm going to be really pedantic for a second. Technically, electrocution is only when you die.
Electric execution, yes, I know. Being
Yeah,
shocked.
That's what electrocute. I know that at this point, everyone uses the word I got electrocuted for I got shocked.
Yeah.
But that is what the literal definition of electrocution is you die from it.
Yeah.
Anyway, pedantic rant over. I don't care. You can call it being electrocuted. I don't give a shit. I just like that was in my brain and I had to get it out.
Absolutely, gotcha. It's the same thing with me and Decimated. I gotcha.
I had, when I was doing the pipeline survey job before you worked there, I got, was it 750 milliamps?
I think, yeah, you told me about that.
sorry,
You got
what?
that. It's not,
it?
yeah.
It would have been 75 milliamps is how much current I took across the chest. So 0.075 amps. So I was like right at the threshold of this is gonna really fucking hurt.
Yeah, I'm glad you survived that.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about that. That made me not happy. And then I still didn't
That's
learn
gonna
my
wake you
lesson
up in the
because
morning.
sometimes I still hook up metal contacts with both hands at the same time because I'm not smart. I do. Whenever I mess around with electrical stuff now, I try to only do it with one hand at a time to make sure that I'm not fucking grounding myself out to a. I'm not trying to reenact the thing from Home Alone 2 where he's holding onto the stick.
Yeah. That's the noise you make, though.
I'm pretty sure the noise I made when I hooked that up was.
Yeah, it's never a great feeling.
No, it isn't. It's terrible. And then I really didn't do much of any work for the rest of the day because I wanted to throw up. Anyway, installing wall vacs.
Yeah. Because that job was relatively simple, I'm not like the HVAC guys or the plumbing guys who have to spend days at a job site. I can just go to multiple job sites throughout the week. There was one house I went to that was being remodeled, so everything was being torn apart, and I could get to their wall vac system. They wanted me to expand on it, but it was still kind of a pain in the butt because there was still some drywall here. They had been working on this remodel for 2 or 3 years at this point. They were just been working tirelessly on it. And I show up there, and I'm doing my PVC thing, and it takes me like a week. That's how big this job is. It wasn't a super huge house, but because there was drywall bits and pieces here, and I'm trying to take this old system and
around
retrofit
it
it
or
into a new
something,
system,
yeah.
it's kind
I'm
of a
guessing
pain in the
it's gonna
butt, and I
take a
didn't
long
like it.
while.
And I knew I had to go back to it and continue the job. And my boss came up to me and said, "Hey, you don't have to go back to that job anymore." I'm like, "Oh, why not?" It burned down.
What?
And I went,
Oh,
"Oh,
God.
no."
Oh,
It wasn't anything I
God.
did, right? Because they have motive. I hate that place.
It wasn't me, right?
Asking another person
Left
if
and right.
it
It does
wasn't
like
me.
that meme of like the little monkey where he's just like
Side-eye.
Blinking, yeah.
just like looking away. I need you to sign this affidavit that says you don't work for me.
So for me, it was
From
like,
now on,
I
you
know,
were a
I know it's selfish,
private
but I
contractor.
felt relieved. Like, I'm a little happy your house burnt down because
Oh, come on. Dude worked on it for
imagine
2 to 3
the construction
years.
workers who've been working on that job for like 2
Exactly,
years.
yeah.
To see all your hard work go up in smoke. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, that would be pretty fucking miserable.
I'm sure the homeowner had insurance, but man, I imagine that they were having a rough time.
Plus, you didn't have to work on the house anymore, though.
That's
Yeah,
the plus side for me. Yep. Again,
Silver
my job was
linings.
relatively simple, so I could bounce around. So I got to see a lot of different houses.
Mm-hmm.
Some that hadn't been built, and some that had been built, as they needed a service call. So I got to see how a lot of people lived, and some people lived pretty good. You know, I've been to a couple people's houses, and like these folks, they got a normal house and a swimming pool room. Like, oh, you got a swimming pool back here. This is pretty dang cool.
Yeah,
It's like, this isn't like Olympic sized or anything, but like you two.
It's a good
relatively
feature
older
to have.
folks, I mean, this is great exercise for you.
Yeah,
like I
would be.
wish I had a swimming pool. It's a great way to stay in shape. And you're not like, this isn't like a ritzy house. This is just a modest house with a swimming pool. This is
Yeah, I
nice.
invested in the Bell Helicopter Company before the Vietnam War, and then during the Vietnam War, and then I increased the amount of spending for the Vietnam War, and then how many helicopters we were sending. Wow, Lyndon Baines Johnson! And, I'm sorry.
These tangents go on. And yeah, there was a different person who had like a 2 or 3 story house, and it was kind of a small house, but you had like a 3-story garage where he stored his plane because he had a plane. He liked to fly.
Technically, if there's an airplane in it, it's called a hangar, not a garage.
Exactly.
So.
Well, yeah, he had a vehicle garage, and on the other side of that 1-story vehicle garage was a 3-story airplane hangar where he stored his plane. And there was like a runway
That's a
going through his
baller
backyard
move.
and the backyard of the block. Everyone on that block had an airplane hangar, and they flew airplanes. That was just their passion.
Yeah,
It's like, well,
There is this thing I've read about the fly-in communities. I saw a clip on it a few days ago where people in a community area would all have like a house near a airstrip, so they could just fly in, fly out from their homes just to go to work or something. It was pretty damn neat. I don't know. Anyone anywhere just lives their own way, I guess. And some of them are actually funner than you would anticipate, wouldn't they?
you got money, but it's not like a disgusting amount of money. And if you like flying, you want to spend all your money on flying, like you've
have a hobby.
chosen to live in a kind of smaller house to have
In
an
favor
airplane
of
hangar
an
and pursue
airplane,
your
yeah.
passion of flying. So I kind of get it.
I feel like owning an airplane is similar to the thing they say about owning a boat. Like, what's the
Yeah,
happiest
yeah.
days in a boat owner's life? The day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat.
A lot of maintenance.
Or you know what's better than owning a boat? Knowing a friend who owns a boat. I feel like
Yeah.
it's got to be the same thing for an airplane. Is what's better than owning an airplane? Knowing someone who owns an airplane.
yeah, but happiest days when you sell your airplane.
Yeah.
it might legitimately be something like that. But then again, at the same time,
I don't know.
the joy of
Between these two, just because I kind of talked about the fly-in communities, I would definitely prefer the airplanes to all the boat stuff, because Subnautica, the game, just unlocked a fear in me that I didn't have. Fear of just unending water. I could work with planes, all right? Being in the sky doesn't actually make me fear. I don't have a fear of like gravity, like high, being extremely high or something. But still, an unending body of water, that does kind of like fuck with me really bad. Like shores, sure. Beaches, yeah, I could go. Even like motorboating on water or just speedboating, those are fun activities. But just going straight at like an unending body of water, that's just very straining for me. It's like a weight on my mind. I can't just get it off. And I've done majority of the things I just said. And in the topic of jobs, I used to be a helper for a welder that used to weld on trading ships and tankers, specifically in like the Persian Gulf, the south of Iran. It's a thing. We used to work in like very hot conditions, and welding itself is not a job that you could do like in any clothes. You have to like wear leather or jeans, so it would kind of have a protective layer, and you had the helmets, lots of heavy stuff you needed to carry. Carrying stuff was my job, but still, it wasn't very comfortable to be in that situation. But yeah, that those types of jobs where I had to like take a motorboat to go to a tanker that had like anchored something about 30 minutes off of the shore. Like we would be on the speedboards for 30, 40 minutes. That's how we kind of measured the distance, not by kilometers or anything, by how long it took to get there, you know, measuring by time. So half an hour, 40, 45 minutes would usually be the way to do it. And one time we had to actually stay on the ship because it took a bit more longer than we anticipated for the job. And at the time we wanted to come back, we called up the motorboat because he wasn't working for us. He was just like a taxi service for the Gulf. Called him up and he said, I can't come in right now. The sea has different waves. It's not a good time. You need to hunker down for now. And we spent the night in the cabins like any other crew member. It was pretty fun, to be honest. I was pretty damn young. If I have any kind of a picture of those, I would put it up right now. So you're going to probably see it right now. I'm just going to continue.
Driving a boat might be not even close to the joy of flying through the sky in your own.
Oh, that would be way better.
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
Be way better than owning a boat.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe they enjoyed it. You know,
maybe there's There's probably less regulations on a boat though. Like if I have a boat, I can just go down to a lake, put the boat into the lake, and putt around the lake. I don't gotta tell the FAA that I'm gonna be driving my boat around.
Yeah.
So I got a couple houses, a couple of nice houses.
Have air traffic control and all that.
Built on the lake, so I get to spend a day at the lake. I get to spend a nice day at the lake doing some really simple construction work. That's nice. Like these people, they got a nice house being built on the lake. This is great. And these folks, they've got their own pool while they're also on the lake. What, you too good for the lake? You're building a house on the lake. You're too good for the lake.
Yeah,
you got
but there's like algae in the lake, and the pool doesn't have algae.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like, okay, you've got money. You might be
how much money?
It a bit. You might be going a bit too far with it. But then, I have been to some fucking houses. Mm-hmm. These people have
those
more
Zillow
money
houses.
Common sense. Oh, we got this 12-bedroom house being built here. Why indeed?
You don't need 12 bedrooms. Do you have 12 kids?
Exactly.
We're gonna rent this place out.
I guess like is it Airbnb?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
They're making a hotel at this point.
Pool
Come
room
on.
and its separate spa room and a second spa room and an arcade cabinet room. And here's a
This is not a house. This is just
I wouldn't mind that.
It would just be filled.
This
with
is an attraction point.
That's all it would be. It would just be all Time Crisis consoles, and someone comes over and they're like, "Have you ever thought about getting another game?"
Yeah,
this Time Crisis. That's all we play.
the same Time Crisis game right next to itself several times.
Well, I have Time Crisis 1, 2, 3, 4, and
Typing of the Dead. No, wait, that's.
I wonder if you could
House of the Dead.
I wonder if you could get House of the Dead and hook a keyboard into it and turn it into Typing of the Dead.
Typing of the Dead.
Oh, how cool would that? Instead,
I don't actually remember
those.
those.
Right? Yeah. You go to play House of the Dead, and it's just a fucking keyboard.
House of
you
the
pull
Dead.
the gun out,
I need to check that one later.
It's got like the neck strap so that you can stand in front of it and furiously type.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I got off topic.
No, it's all good. I'm talking about these absurd houses. You go from modest houses, and then modest houses with some extra
with
features, that are very cool,
extra amenities,
and then these big mansion-like houses that are like
mansion.
Yeah, like there's one house that I went to that was built into a hillside, and they've got like panic bunker on the 3rd floor. You got to take an elevator up to their panic bunker. They've got their own.
Elevator takes too long. Why are there stairs?
There's stairs too if you want to take the stairs. Yeah. They've got their own personal greenhouse, their own basketball court.
I want a panic bunker.
I suppose that would be nice, and hopefully we don't need it.
I just want a bunker. Do you have to have like
As two of the biggest people I know that are playing Fallout, they do really need a panic bunker. How have both of you not have a panic bunker? Like, vault games have been your thing. Which one is it? Is this the with the bowler hat and all that? I'm gonna say this is Fallout for London. What it looks like to me. You two definitely are the list of people I would consider have a panic bunker, to be honest.
A certain amount of money. Do you have to have like a certain amount of money or be a dictator in order to have a bunker?
I don't know.
Can like Joe Schmo have a bunker? Or would that just be considered a Fallout shelter at that point?
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have enough money. You wouldn't have enough money for a bunker, I'd say. It'd have to be like a shelter. Cellar. So there were some pretty ritzy places I got to work on. And then there were houses, you know how every city has that family, that they own the everything.
The money family.
They own literally
The dynasties,
We've got that too, as everyone does.
everyone has it. Like in here, they might be called like sheikhs, the khans, the old ones. The names of them are just different, but they all refer to the same one. The ones from money. Like some have so much money that they don't know how much it actually is. So many businesses like they have owned, sold, and or operated throughout the years by like different family members and all that. Yeah, everyone has. Like heirs and heiresses are that, but they're like top of those lists. There are smaller like dynasties, family names that kind of work towards the common goal of the family, and mostly it's just business. So yeah, I've seen those too.
And so they told me I'm working on one of their houses. How do I get there? Well, go down this road, take a left through this driveway, not into a garage, but past this house. This house isn't actually a house. It's like a guard station that's shaped like a house. It's to present itself as a house, so people think it's a house, but it's not actually a house. It's just a front. So you drive down this road to get to the actual
It's the security's
big
house.
It's the kind of thing that while you're driving down the road, you're just like, am I in a Hitman level? When did this happen?
Yeah, it's just a mansion behind a row of houses that are decoy houses.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
get there, and they're building their fourth expansion out of their mansion, and the expansion is bigger than any house you've ever lived in.
The concept of decoy houses is so fucking alien to me.
Yeah,
It's a house, but it's the house for the guards.
yeah.
It's the guard house. Like an actual guard house.
I don't understand these people with money that just like buy the stupidest stuff. But I've been inside some of these houses when they're finished. Like they've got entire rooms, giant greeting rooms, where I guess maybe like you're expecting business to happen here or something, like
Maybe.
negotiations. Like you've got like 5 or 6 of these rooms per floor on like 4 or 5 different floors. Some of these
To do
houses
what?
are crazy, is what I'm trying to say. Some
A
of these
space
some of
not
these
used
places-
is just
If
wasted.
you've seen some of these places that I've been to, you would also want to raise the capital gains tax.
When I not the same thing, but similar. There was a brief period of time when I was in college that I worked for tech support. I was doing technical writing for the website on how to set up the things for all the computers that they were installing in the classrooms. And at one point, I had to go to basically every single classroom that had a computer in it. So I would go into a classroom that is filled with Geiger counters. And then there's a computer sitting in the corner in like a podium. And then I would come back and talk to tech support people. I'd be like, why is there a computer in this classroom? They're like, that's not even technically a classroom. Why did they put a computer in there? And it's like, nobody knows why it's there. It's just there.
That's some kind of budgeting error. I have no idea.
There were a lot of classrooms that were like that. And I just remember being like, I'm so confused as to why we have
Just
computers.
baffling.
It's like, is this what my tuition is going towards? Is putting computers in classrooms that the computer doesn't need to be in this classroom? Who knows?
Maybe.
Anyway, fun times doing wall vac jobs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the wall vac business will ever pick up, because I think most people now, like, I'm quite content with the push vacuum.
Yeah, especially with how small, like how now there's literally vacuums that are basically the size of a power drill, but they have like
They've come a
small,
long way.
like one liter
There are
canister
handheld
attached to
ones,
them,
there are ones you
and
could
they're
use for
completely
cars.
cordless.
Or the autonomous vacuum cleaners, the robots, the
Yeah,
Roombas.
I'm not a big fan of the Roombas,
no.
but that's specifically because those aren't actually vacuum.
Just for the reasons I kind of explained, Roombas don't work because they can't do well on like rugs and carpets at all. So they definitely didn't take off at all over here, because we don't have like clean floors, not clean floors, like mosaic or cement floors that have nothing on them. We always cover the grounds that are empty with a rug. Historically, fun fact, houses in Persia have a different category of systems on how they are built. The size of each room is supposed to be 3 by 4 meters, or so the surface area of it is 12 meters total. And these houses are called the 3 bob. Bob means door. So 3-door houses, 5-door houses, and 7-door houses are like the basis of these houses and their size. 3-door means it only houses one 3x4 rug on it. 5 doors means it will hold 2. And you would build those houses based on those rugs because everyone would use these standard rugs to cover it. So if there was even a single piece that was left out, they would hurriedly just cover it with anything else, like a smaller carpet or anything, because that would show that that house was not actually built by standards, that these were just off by a bit, you know? So yeah, because of those that we use rugs a lot, and it's kind of a basis of our houses at all in Persia or Iran, we cannot use these vacuum cleaner robots because they don't work on these. Let's keep going.
Vacuum cleaners, they're like the old-timey push broom things where it's just got a brush that spins and it spits the stuff into a little
It's not
canister.
a vacuum, yeah.
At least that's all the Roombas I've seen. Maybe there's new Roombas that actually have a vacuum on them.
Well, technology
Hopefully they get
Yeah,
better.
it continuously gets better, but
Because we can see the
I
appeal.
would be
But
surprised to see if the wall vac business picked up anytime soon because I feel like I'm told that they're more common in Canada, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I have no idea.
All I know is that they're not doing as well in America as they apparently used to, at least not locally.
It's just, yeah, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, I'm going to get this wall vac system that I got to drag around 12 and a half feet of hose from room to room.
Most hoses were 30 foot long.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to drag a 30 foot. I think we had like 2 different size hoses. We had like a smaller one, but then I think the main one was like 30 feet of hose.
Yeah.
That you got to like loop it over your shoulders like it's a fucking belt for a machine gun. You got to do that like 7 or 8
carry
times.
it just around the house. Yeah.
When your choice is between a 30-foot hose or I can get a little Dyson.
Yeah,
I can buy a Shark vacuum cleaner from Walmart for $100. That's the size of a cordless drill and is just rechargeable.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get that.
Yeah.
Because it's smaller. It doesn't take up much space. And I can just empty it out when I'm done with the room.
And you don't have to worry about the pipes breaking. There are some times I'd have to go to a service call to the same house a couple times, like once every other year. Like every other year, this house had like a clog, and I'm thinking, you know, the clog's always in the exact same spot in the wall where you've got this picture hung. You probably put a nail through the PVC
come
pipe,
on.
and now all the hair and stuff is getting caught on it. That's why I got to keep on coming by and cleaning it out.
Probably.
But as I said before, there are advantages to having the system. And they have the new retractable system too. Like you don't have to lug the hose around anymore.
Oh yeah, the hose that comes out of the wall.
You just pull the hose out of the wall. But yeah,
Like an actual outlet, yeah.
There's probably more things I could talk about, like how my boss, he sold part of the business's location to another company. So we were sharing the wall vac business with a different business. He was making his own thing on the other side of the building, and he's kind of an eccentric guy. He'd come by and he'd have a parakeet on his shoulder. He'd be like, "Why do you have a parakeet? Why is that your personality now?"
What is he, me? Is that future me? Did I time travel back into the past with a fucking
Mike.
parakeet on my shoulder? It's just like, what are you doing over there, Mr. Jack? Jack, dangerous. Jack Dangerous. That's me. That's me. What are you doing over
Zach
there?
has a good Jack Dangerous.
Building clones of the Mauser C96 pistol. Is that a parakeet? Yes, it is. Don't look at my parakeet. Is that a fake mustache? Shut up.
Maybe not quite that eccentric, but yes. So he's working on his HVAC systems while my boss is in the corner working on boat vacuums.
Boat vacuums?
Oh yeah, they're vacuum systems that go on a boat. Oh, I forgot to tell you about
That broke my brain. I
Yeah.
just started thinking, like,
Yes.
isn't that a bilge pump? But no, that's a pump, not a vacuum.
It's like the vacuum system that you've seen, only instead of it being in the wall, it is just a box on the boat, and it has a small bag about the size of like a gallon Ziploc bag.
What?
And you would clean up your boat with that.
Okay, so I know this is the early 2000s/2010s, but just get a dust buster. Why do you need a
I don't know why. I don't understand it, but I don't understand boat owners in general.
Yeah.
Now it's the 3 happiest days in a boat owner's life. The day you get the boat, the day you get the wall back for the boat, and the day you sell the boat.
Yep.
Okay, that was extremely fun. Let's like the video, do the same. Make sure to sub, share, like, comment. I'm just gonna talk a bit about my own jobs and what I did. So I've talked about that I have been a military conscript, but before that I majored in English. Translation and interpretation was my major. I speak a couple of different languages, mostly those in my area by my own people. So it's not something that others would be able to understand or I could use even outside of Iran. I've been a teacher for a couple of these languages during one point or another during my time. I have taught English classes, I have taken private lessons, I've helped tourists, and a couple of other very weird jobs that have nothing to do with like my major or what I studied for, because those definitely happen. For example, I talked about how I was a helper hand for a welder on ships, one of the very difficult jobs I have done, and I have done difficult jobs a lot. I have been a police conscript, so I was a 911 responder. I can't get into all of what I've done, but it's been a lot. I have worked in factories, I've worked in lines, I've been used to work in a factory with a laser cutter. It was pretty damn good, a pretty damn satisfying job, to be honest, because you would have something in your mind or something that someone has ordered. You would look at it, change a couple things, just adjust them, make sure you got the right material, design them, get all the designs copied over to the machine, the laser cutter. Stuff we used to work with were like plexiglass and all that, as they would be used to make some decorative pieces, signs for businesses, or neon lighting like inside of them. I've done a couple of those things. It's a pretty satisfying job because you would have these ideas in your head and you would see it just apply and make itself kind of into life. And these were all like in your head half an hour ago, you know? It was fun seeing it come to life. That's what I'm trying to say. So do what you have to get that moolah. You need money, and money makes the world go around. That's just the fact of life. Thing is, I've done all these jobs and I am now doing this for YouTube because I genuinely don't want to do them anymore. I decided that I have had enough of working in a factory, working in lines, getting sleepless nights, hungry nights off of like my conscription. The pay for being a teacher wasn't good. Everything was just not really up to what I thought they would be. It was underwhelming. And now I genuinely wanted to learn and do something which I always kind of dreamt about, and that is being a character on YouTube. I never thought I would do a reaction content, to be honest. And this is not the goal. This is just the start to get me to go towards this path, do it and do more in the future. I don't know how it's going to end up, but I wanted to give it a shot. So you all do the same. You don't have to go through all the shit I did to just hear what I'm trying to say. Do it. It's going to be an arduous process. You will have your own sleepless nights, the stress, all the caveats that come with it. But at least you did it your way. At least you tried. You're not going to be jealous that you didn't. So tomorrow, today, an hour from now, do what you want. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of people not satisfied with their lives, but there's a lot of lives I see that I hoped I could get. So I'm going to try for it my own way. And this all had been just a diversion for you and a campaign for me to tell you, please subscribe, like, comment, and more. Because I am not going back to the fucking factory. So thank you for joining me. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the original creators of this video. The links are going to be in the description. mikeburnfire and Zach Hazard. Do not forget. That's just the most important one. All right. Thanks for joining me. I ranted on enough. See you all in the next one. New videos every week. Bye.